"Sir, I'm calling security. You clearly don't belong here." The words sliced through the marble showroom of Meridian fine jewelry like a blade. Elias Vance straightened his modest hoodie, his dark eyes meeting the store manager's cold stare. 12 customers turned to watch phones emerged from purses. The Saturday afternoon rush had just found its entertainment. "This isn't a pawn shop," Rebecca Sloan announced, her designer suit immaculate against the gleaming display cases. "These pieces start at $50,000. Elias nodded calmly. "I understand. I'd still like to see the Cartier collection." "Security." Sloane's voice echoed off the crystal chandeliers. "Have you ever been judged so harshly that strangers joined your humiliation?" What Elias did next didn't just change his day, it transformed an entire system. This is one of those real-life stories that proves why Black stories matter. The touching stories that reveal hidden power in the most unexpected moments. Sloane crossed her arms, taking a deliberate step backward. Her stage whisper carried perfectly across the showroom. "Chloe, call building security. This gentleman seems confused about our clientele." The young associate behind the counter fumbled with the phone, her eyes darting between Elias and her manager. "Are you sure he hasn't done anything?" "Now." "Chloe." Elias remained centered, checking his watch. 10 minutes past 4. His flight to New York didn't leave until 8, but he'd promised his daughter he'd pick up her graduation gift today. The custom Cartier bracelet had been ready for a week. "Sir, are you sure you're in the right place?" Sloane's voice carried that particular tone, the one that made assumptions about credit limits and belonging. An elderly woman near the diamond rings looked up sharply. 2 younger women by the window had already pulled out their phones' cameras, aimed at the unfolding scene. "I'm exactly where I need to be," Elias replied, his voice steady. He pulled a small leather notebook from his jacket pocket, jotting down Sloane's name from her gold badge. The timestamp, 4:11 p.m. The store's promotional display counted down in bright red numbers. Spring sale ends in 10:47, 10:46, 10:45. "Do you have an appointment?" Sloane pressed. "Our consultation fees start at $200. I wasn't aware browsing required an appointment. For our premium collections, yes. Sloane's assistant manager appeared from the back office, a thin man in his 30s, who immediately positioned himself behind her. "These aren't costume jewelry pieces." Elias glimpsed his first-class boarding pass in his jacket pocket. LAX to JFK seat 2A. His custom phone case caught the light, its discreet company logo partially visible. He made another note in his pad. The live stream had begun. "My God, guys, you're not going to believe this," whispered Sophia Reyes, a 24-year-old influencer with 50,000 TikTok followers. Her phone screen showed 47 viewers watching live. "I'm literally in this jewelry store right now, and they're about to kick out this black man for just existing." The viewer count climbed 63, 89, 124. Comments flooded the screen. "This is disgusting. What store is this? Get their names, sue them." Sloane's assistant manager leaned closer. "Maybe we should handle this more quietly." "No," Sloane hissed. "I won't be intimidated in my own store. Sir, I'm going to need you to leave immediately." The security guard arrived, a professional in his 50s, who'd worked luxury retail for decades. He assessed the situation with experienced eyes, noting Elias's calm demeanor, the growing crowd of witnesses, and Sloane's aggressive posture. "Ma'am, what seems to be the problem? This gentleman is refusing to leave after being told he doesn't have an appointment." The guard looked at Elias. "Sir, do you need assistance with anything? I'd like to purchase a bracelet for my daughter's graduation. I called ahead on Tuesday. The piece should be ready." "You called ahead?" The guard's eyebrows raised slightly. Sloane's face flushed. "I have no record of any call." Elias showed his phone's call log. Tuesday, 2:17 p.m. Spoke with someone named Mark about a custom Cartier piece. Order number C7. Chloe. The young associate suddenly looked uncomfortable. Rebecca. I think I remember that call. Mark was at lunch, so I... Chloe, go check inventory. Sloane cut her off sharply. The live stream viewer count hit 200. Sophia adjusted her angle, whispering to her audience. The energy in here is so toxic right now. This man is being so polite, and they're treating him like a criminal. An elderly woman approached Elias. Excuse me, but I've been shopping here for 20 years. This is absolutely disgraceful. She turned to Sloane. Young lady, you should be ashamed of yourself. Ma'am, please stay out of this. I will not stay out of it. This is discrimination, plain and simple. More customers began choosing sides. A middle-aged couple near the watches shook their heads in disgust. Two women by the engagement rings whispered their disapproval. But not everyone supported Elias. A man in an expensive suit nodded approvingly at Sloane's caution. Better safe than sorry, he muttered to his companion. Sloane sensed the shifting mood and doubled down. I'm calling my district supervisor. We have protocols for situations like this. She dialed quickly, speaking loud enough for everyone to hear. Yes, Mr. Garrett. This is Rebecca at Beverly Hills. I have a situation that requires your immediate attention. The phone conversation was brief, but pointed. Sloane described a suspicious individual who was becoming aggressive and refusing to leave the premises. Elias continued taking notes. Store layout staff positions, witness names when he could catch them. The security camera locations, everything documented with time stamps. 10 minutes, he said quietly to himself. That's all I need. The countdown display showed 9:32, 9:31, 9:30. Sophia's live stream now had 347 viewers. The comments were coming too fast to read. Boycott viral this. Where is this store? Document everything. Chloe returned from the back, her face pale. Rebecca, I found the order. It's definitely here. Custom Cartier tennis bracelet, 18-karat white gold, paid in full. Sloane's confident expression flickered for just a moment. That's impossible. I would have been notified of any custom orders. It was processed through corporate directly, Chloe said quietly. The payment, it was substantial. The display cases gleamed under the crystal chandeliers. The countdown clock ticked away. The cameras kept rolling, and Elias Vance smiled. The district supervisor's video call appeared on Sloane's tablet within minutes. Alan Garrett, a stern man in his late 50s, frowned from his office screen. Rebecca explained the situation. Sloane positioned the tablet so Garrett could see Elias. This individual entered without an appointment, became belligerent when asked to leave, and is now claiming he has an order that I have no record of. Garrett studied Elias through the screen. Something in the man's posture, his calm confidence, triggered a memory, but he couldn't place it. Sir, can you provide proof of purchase? Elias reached into his jacket. The movement caused Sloane to step back dramatically, as if he might be reaching for a weapon. Easy, she warned. He pulled out his phone, scrolling to his email confirmations. Order confirmation, C7749 payment confirmation and correspondence with your design team. Garrett squinted at the screen. I can't read those from here. Rebecca, can you verify the order number? Chloe held up the paperwork. It's legitimate, Mr. Garrett. The order exists. Payment was processed Tuesday at 2:43 p.m. for $87,500. $87,000. The amount hung in the air like a revelation. Several customers gasped audibly. Even Sloane's confident expression wavered. That's impossible, she stammered. I process all large orders personally. Actually, Chloe said quietly, this one was flagged for direct corporate processing. It bypassed local management approval. Garrett's frown deepened. What's the customer's name on the order A? Vance Chloe read. Payment method was Corporate American Express Black Card. Sophia's live stream had exploded to over 800 viewers. The comments were a waterfall of outrage and support. 87,000, she's about to get fired. This is about to be legendary. The countdown clock showed 8:20, 8:19, 8:18. Sloane's assistant manager whispered urgently in her ear. Maybe we should de-escalate this. No, Sloane snapped. Anyone can fake emails. I want to see actual payment confirmation from our system. Elias checked his watch again. I understand your caution. Would you like me to call your corporate office directly? That won't be necessary, Garrett interjected from the screen. Rebecca, pull up order C7749 in our system right now. Sloane's fingers flew across her computer keyboard. Her face went white. It's here, but this doesn't make sense. Why wasn't I notified? Because Chloe said carefully it was flagged as VIP corporate. Those notifications go directly to district and regional management. Garrett was studying Elias more intently now. Sir, I apologize for any confusion. Could you provide additional identification? Elias smiled slightly, of course. He reached for his wallet, but then paused. Actually, would it be easier if I just made a quick phone call? To whom Sloane demanded. Someone who can clear this up immediately. The security guard had been watching the entire exchange. His decades of experience told him this was about to take an unexpected turn. He'd seen this before, the calm customer who seemed to have more authority than they initially revealed. Sophia angled her phone to capture Elias dialing. Her viewer count had broken 1,000. Guys, he's making a call. This is about to get so crazy. Elias put the phone on speaker, the volume just loud enough for nearby customers to hear. This is Elias. We have a situation at the Beverly Hills location. The voice on the other end was crisp, professional. Sir, what do you need? Could you pull up the management structure for store 847? I need to know who Rebecca Sloane's immediate supervisor is. Garrett, still visible on Sloane's tablet, suddenly straightened. Hold on. Did he say his name was Elias? Sloane's phone buzzed. Corporate headquarters, urgent priority. Ma'am, you need to answer that, the security guard advised. The elderly woman who had defended Elias earlier moved closer. Young man, I don't know who you are, but I've never seen anything like this in my life. Ma'am, Elias replied gently. I appreciate your support. This should be resolved very shortly. Sloane stared at her buzzing phone like it might explode. Garrett was frantically typing on his keyboard, accessing personnel files, checking corporate directories. Rebecca Garrett's voice cracked slightly. Answer your phone now. The live stream chat was chaos. Who is he? Mystery shopper, corporate investigator, undercover boss. Chloe backed away from her computer terminal. Rebecca, maybe you should. No. Sloane's voice was shaking now. I don't care who he claims to be. I run this store. I make the decisions about who gets service. Elias ended his call and looked directly at her. Rebecca, your phone is ringing. I can see that you should answer it. The countdown display showed 6:45, 6:44, 6:43. More customers had gathered, drawn by the commotion. A teenage girl started her own live stream. A businessman in the corner was recording everything on his phone. The store's security cameras captured every angle. The confrontation was being documented from multiple perspectives simultaneously. Garrett's face had gone pale on the video call. Rebecca, I'm ordering you to answer that phone immediately. Why? Sloane's voice rose to near hysteria. Why is everyone so concerned about one customer? I've handled difficult situations before. I know how to manage my store. Your store? Elias asked quietly. Yes, my store. I'm the manager. I have full authority over customer service decisions." The security guard exchanged glances with Chloe. They both sensed what Sloane couldn't see. This wasn't just about a bracelet anymore. Elias's phone buzzed with a text message. He glanced at it and nodded slightly. "Rebecca," he said, his voice still calm. "I believe you have a call waiting." Sloane finally looked at her phone screen. The caller ID made her stomach drop. Corporate headquarters urgent. She glanced around the store. 12 customers with phones pointed at her. A live stream with over 1,200 viewers. Her district supervisor watching via video call. Security cameras recording everything. The countdown display showed 532, 532, 531. Sophia whispered to her audience guys, "I think we're about to witness something legendary. This energy is absolutely insane right now." Sloane's finger hovered over the answer button. Elias checked his watch one more time. "I believe they're waiting for you." The phone kept ringing. Sloane's hand trembled as she accepted the call. "This is Rebecca Sloane, Beverly Hills location." The voice on the other end was sharp, authoritative. "Miss Sloane, this is Diana Croft, Senior Vice President of Operations. I need you to put Mr. Vance on the line immediately." The blood drained from Sloane's face. Garrett's mouth fell open on the video screen. Chloe gripped the edge of the counter. "I don't understand," Sloane whispered. "You don't understand what Miss Sloane put Elias Vance on the phone now. Every customer in the store heard the order. The live stream chat exploded. Elias Vance. Who's Elias Vance? Google him now." Sophia was frantically typing on her second phone while keeping the live stream running. "Guys, I'm looking him up right now." "Elias Vance. My God, my God." Elias stepped forward calmly. "I'll take that call, Rebecca." She handed him the phone with shaking fingers. "Diana. This is Elias. Sir, I am so sorry. I just received word about the situation. Are you all right?" "I'm fine, though. I think we need to discuss some immediate policy changes." "Absolutely, sir. Whatever you need." The elderly woman leaned closer to Sophia. "Who is Elias?" "Vance." Sophia's voice was barely a whisper. "He's the founder. He owns the company. He's the CEO of Meridian Fine Jewelry." The words rippled through the crowd like a shockwave. Garrett, still on video call, was pulling up corporate files with shaking fingers. The organizational chart filled his screen. At the very top, Elias Vance, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer. "No," Garrett breathed. "No, no, no." Elias continued his phone conversation, still calm, still measured. "Diana, I need you to conference in legal. We have some immediate issues to address. Of course, Mr. Vance patching them through now." Sloane stared at Elias like he was a ghost. "You're the owner. Majority shareholder." Elias corrected gently. 67% controlling interest. Chloe's legs gave out. She sat down hard in her chair. "The custom order, it was flagged for corporate processing because it was my personal purchase," Elias finished. "For my daughter's graduation from Stanford Law School." The security guard shook his head in amazement. He'd seen a lot in his career, but never anything like this. Sophia's live stream had exploded to over 2,500 viewers. Comments were flying faster than she could read them. "The owner, she's so fired. This is legendary. Best plot twist ever." Legal came on the line. "Mr. Vance, this is Brian Lee from Legal. We understand there's been an incident involving potential discrimination." "That's correct, Brian. I've been refused service at our Beverly Hills location based on what appears to be racial profiling. We have multiple witnesses and at least one live stream with several thousand viewers." Sloane's knees buckled. She grabbed the counter for support. Sir Legal continued. "What immediate actions would you like us to take?" First, I want a complete review of our customer service protocols. Second, I want a discrimination audit of all locations within 30 days. Third, I want new bias training implemented chain-wide. Garrett was frantically taking notes on his video call. Mr. Vance, I had no idea you were conducting site visits. This never should have happened. Alan, you're not at fault here, but we clearly have systemic issues that need addressing. The countdown display showed 317, 316. Elias looked around the store. 12 customers, all recording. Staff members who had watched their manager create a social media nightmare. Security cameras that had captured every word. Diana Elias said into the phone, I want you to connect with our PR team immediately. This incident is already viral. We need to get ahead of it. Understood, sir. How do you want to handle Ms. Sloane's employment status? Sloane's face went white. Please, I didn't know. If I had known, that's exactly the problem, Rebecca Elias said quietly. You treated me poorly because you didn't know who I was, but you should treat every customer with respect regardless of who they are. Sophia was providing live commentary to her audience. Guys, this is the most insane thing I've ever witnessed. The owner of the store was literally kicked out of his own business for being black. The manager is about to get fired on live stream. The teenage girl recording from the corner approached Elias. Excuse me, sir. I'm so sorry this happened to you. I recorded everything. Do you want me to send it to you? That's very kind, Elias replied. But I think there's already plenty of documentation. Chloe finally found her voice. Mr. Vance, I'm so sorry. I should have recognized you. I should have said something. Chloe, you were caught in a difficult situation. You were being ordered to act by your supervisor. That's why we need better training and clearer policies. The businessman who had been recording stepped forward. Mr. Vance, I'm Daniel Navarro from the Los Angeles Times business section. Would you be available for a brief interview about this incident? I'll have our media relations team contact you, Elias replied. This story needs to be told properly. Sloane was crying now. Please, Mr. Vance, I made a mistake. I can learn. I can do better. Elias studied her for a long moment. Rebecca, the issue isn't that you made a mistake. The issue is that you doubled down on that mistake even when presented with evidence. You chose to escalate rather than de-escalate. I was just trying to protect the store. From what a paying customer who wanted to buy an $87,000 bracelet, the magnitude of the lost sale hung in the air. Sloane's annual performance review would show she had personally ejected the company's highest value customer. Legal was still on the line. Mr. Vance, we need to discuss potential liability exposure. The live stream audience is approaching 3,000 viewers. This is significant public relations damage. Brian, I want to turn this into a teaching moment rather than a lawsuit. Can we draft a comprehensive response that addresses systemic change? Absolutely, sir. We'll have something for your review within the hour. Garrett leaned closer to his video camera. Mr. Vance, what would you like me to do about the Beverly Hills location management? Elias looked at Sloane, who was still crying, then at Chloe, who looked terrified, then at the security guard who had maintained professionalism throughout the incident. Alan, we'll discuss staffing changes privately, but I want immediate interim management put in place while we conduct a thorough review. The countdown display showed 143, 142, 141. Elias walked to the Cartier display case. Chloe, could you please retrieve my daughter's bracelet? I believe it's been ready since Tuesday. With shaking hands, Chloe unlocked the case and removed a stunning white gold tennis bracelet. The diamonds caught the light like captured stars. It's beautiful, Elias said softly. She's going to love it. Sophia angled her phone to capture the bracelet. Guys, after everything that just happened, he's still buying the jewelry. That's class right there. Elias signed the receipt with Chloe's trembling assistance. The total $87,500 0 cents plus tax. Chloe, you handled this situation as well as you could given the circumstances. Don't worry about your job. Relief flooded her face. Thank you, Mr. Vance. Thank you so much. The countdown display hit 0. Sale ends now. Elias looked at the crowd of customers. I want to thank everyone who witnessed this incident. Your support and documentation will help us make meaningful changes. The elderly woman smiled. Young man, you handled this with such grace. Your parents raised you right. Thank you, ma'am. That means everything. He looked at Sloane one final time. Rebecca, I hope you'll take time to reflect on what happened here today. Real leadership means lifting people up, not tearing them down. Then Elias Vance, with his daughter's graduation gift in hand, walked calmly out of his own jewelry store. The live stream was still running. The cameras were still recording. The story was just beginning. The corporate conference call began at 4:47 p.m., 17 minutes after Elias left the store. 8 executives joined from offices across the country. Diana Croft, Senior VP of Operations, led the emergency session. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a code red situation. The Beverly Hills incident is viral across multiple platforms. Current view count across all social media channels is approaching 50,000. Brian Lee from Legal pulled up the streaming data. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. The primary live stream peaked at 4,000 concurrent viewers. Secondary recordings are being shared exponentially. Elias now in his Tesla Model S in the store's parking lot, connected via Bluetooth. Diana, what's our current crisis response status? Full activation, sir. PR team is monitoring all channels. Customer service is fielding calls. Stock price is down 2% in after-house trading. Alan Garrett, still connected from his earlier video call, looked like he'd aged 5 years. Mr. Vance, I've initiated a complete review of all Beverly Hills personnel files. Rebecca Sloane's performance reviews show 3 previous customer complaints regarding discriminatory behavior. 3 complaints. Elias's voice carried a sharp edge for the first time all day. And she was still in a management position. Silence on the call. Alan, I want those files on my desk within the hour. I want to know who ignored those complaints and why no action was taken. Yes, sir, immediately. Karen Bell, head of Human Resources, joined the call. Mr. Vance, we need to discuss legal exposure. Ms. Sloane's termination needs to be handled carefully to avoid wrongful termination claims. Karen, she discriminated against customers on company property in front of multiple witnesses. We have live stream evidence. What wrongful termination risk are you concerned about, sir? She could argue she was following company protocol for suspicious behavior. Suspicious behavior? Elias's voice was dangerously quiet. Define suspicious behavior, Karen. I didn't mean to imply no. I want you to define it. What about my behavior was suspicious? Walking into a store in jeans being black in Beverly Hills, wanting to buy jewelry for my daughter. The silence stretched for 30 seconds. Legal stepped in. Mr. Vance, we've reviewed the recordings. Sloane made several statements that could constitute clear discrimination. Her position is legally indefensible. Brian, I want you to draft a comprehensive anti-discrimination policy within 48 hours. Every employee, from sales associates to district managers, will complete mandatory bias training. Understood, sir. Diana pulled up financial data. Sir, the immediate revenue impact is significant. Beverly Hills location generates approximately $2.3 million annually. This incident could affect customer confidence chain-wide. Diana, what's our demographic breakdown for high-value customers? Approximately 38% identify as ethnic minorities, sir. Average purchase amount is 62% higher than our general customer base. The implications hung heavy in the digital air. Losing minority customers would devastate profit margins. Marketing Director Kevin Lowe connected from Los Angeles. Mr. Vance, we're seeing massive social media engagement. The hashtag #DignityFirst is trending nationally. We have an opportunity to control this narrative. Kevin, I don't want to control anything. I want to fix the underlying problem. Draft a public statement acknowledging the incident and outlining concrete changes. Sir Legal usually reviews all public statements regarding discrimination incidents. This isn't a typical discrimination incident, Kevin. This is the company owner being discriminated against in his own store. We're not hiding behind legal language. Back at the Beverly Hills location, chaos reigned. 3 news vans had arrived. Customers were being interviewed outside. Chloe was fielding calls from reporters while trying to serve actual customers. The interim manager, Mateo Diaz, had been rushed over from the Century City location. A 20-year retail veteran, he'd never walked into a situation quite like this. Garrett updated the call. Interim management is in place. Mateo Diaz is handling operations while we conduct the review. Good. Mateo, are you on the call? Yes, sir, Mr. Vance. I've reviewed the incident reports and security footage. I want to personally apologize for what happened. Mateo, you weren't there. But I want you to implement immediate changes. Every customer gets greeted within 30 seconds of entering. No one is judged by appearance. No one is questioned about their ability to afford our product. Understood, sir. I'll brief all staff immediately. Karen from HR spoke up. Mr. Vance, we need to discuss severance packages. Miss Sloan has been with the company for 4 years. Karen discrimination isn't a severance-eligible offense. She violated company policy and federal law. Document everything properly, but don't expect the company to reward bad behavior. Sir, she might claim she wasn't properly trained on discrimination policies. Then that's a systemic failure we need to address. Schedule bias training for every employee within 60 days. Use external consultants, make it comprehensive. The stock market had closed, but after hours trading showed continued decline. CFO Carlos Pena joined the call with financial projections. Mr. Vance, if this story continues to spread, we could see significant impact on Q2 revenue. Consumer sentiment analysis shows mixed reactions. Mixed how significant support from younger demographics and minority communities. Some concern from traditional luxury shoppers about the negative publicity. Elias considered this. Carlos, what percentage of our growth comes from diverse customer segments? Approximately 74% of our growth over the past 3 years, sir. Then we focus on doing right by those customers. The traditional luxury market that's uncomfortable with equality isn't our target demographic anymore. Diana highlighted the operational challenges. Sir, we have 23 locations. Implementing chain-wide changes will require significant resources. Diana, calculate the cost of comprehensive bias training for all 847 employees. Calculate the cost of implementing new customer service protocols. Then calculate the cost of losing 38% of our high-value customers. She ran quick numbers. Training costs approximately $340,000. Customer service protocol updates around $150,000. Lost revenue from high-value customer defection could exceed $12 million annually. Then we invest the $500,000 to protect the $12 million. Authorize both expenditures immediately. Legal had been reviewing social media comments. Mr. Vance's public reaction is overwhelmingly supportive. Many comments are pledging to shop at Meridian specifically because of how you handled this. Brian, that's gratifying, but we're not doing this for marketing purposes. We're doing it because it's right. The call continued for another 43 minutes, covering employee communications, media response, and implementation timelines. By the end, a comprehensive action plan was in place. Diana summarized anti-discrimination policy revision, company-wide bias training, customer service protocol updates, quarterly diversity audits, and anonymous reporting systems for discrimination concerns. Timeline. Elias asked policy revision within 48 hours, training program launch within 30 days, full implementation within 90 days. Make it happen. Alan Garrett had one final update. Mr. Vance, I've completed the personnel file review. The 3 previous complaints against Rebecca Sloan were filed but never escalated to district management. 2 assistant managers and 1 district supervisor failed to follow proper procedures. Their employment status under review, sir. This appears to be a pattern of ignored complaints throughout the district. Elias sat in his car, watching the news vans outside his store. Allen discrimination complaints aren't suggestions. They're legal liabilities and moral failures. Anyone who ignored them shares responsibility for today's incident. Understood, sir. We'll handle it appropriately. The conference call ended at 6:23 p.m. In 96 minutes, a single incident of discrimination had triggered a complete overhaul of corporate policy across a multi-million-dollar jewelry chain. Elias started his car and pulled out of the parking lot. In his passenger seat sat a small velvet box containing his daughter's graduation gift, a $87,500 bracelet that had cost his company far more than its purchase price. But some lessons, he reflected, were worth every penny. 6 weeks later, the transformation was measurable. Rebecca Sloan's termination had been swift and final. Her attempts to appeal the decision failed when HR presented the documented pattern of complaints and the overwhelming video evidence. She'd found work at a small boutique in Pasadena, keeping a low profile and declining all media requests. The Beverly Hills location had become Meridian's highest-performing store. Revenue increased 34% month over month, driven by customers who specifically sought out the business after the viral incident. Chloe, the young associate who'd tried to de-escalate the situation, received a promotion to assistant manager and a $5,000 performance bonus. She now led the customer service training program for new hires. Mateo Diaz, the interim manager, accepted a permanent position after successfully implementing all policy changes. Customer satisfaction scores at his location reached company record levels. The Dignity First initiative launched company-wide on a Tuesday morning in June. All 847 employees participated in mandatory unconscious bias training conducted by Dr. Imani Jordan, a renowned diversity consultant from UCLA. The training wasn't generic corporate sensitivity programming. It used real scenarios, including footage from the Beverly Hills incident, to demonstrate how unconscious bias affected customer service. Employees learned to recognize their assumptions and respond professionally to every customer. Elias insisted on attending every training session himself, not as the CEO making a corporate appearance, but as a participant sharing his own experience with discrimination. At the Century City location, he told a room of 23 employees that day in Beverly Hills wasn't unique. It was just the first time it happened to someone with the power to change the system. The story resonated. Employees shared their own experiences with bias, both as witnesses and targets. The conversations were uncomfortable but necessary. Technology played a crucial role in sustaining the changes. Meridian implemented an AI-powered feedback system that analyzed customer service interactions for potential bias indicators. The system monitored greeting time, service duration, and language patterns across all customer demographics. Within the first month, the system flagged 12 interactions requiring additional training. No one was fired, but coaching was provided immediately. Anonymous reporting increased 400%. Employees felt safe reporting concerns about discrimination, knowing the system would respond promptly and fairly. The quarterly diversity audits revealed significant insights. High-value customers from minority communities increased their spending by an average of 23% after the policy changes. Exit interviews with former customers showed that many had avoided luxury retailers due to past discrimination experiences. Elias received hundreds of emails from customers sharing their own stories. A retired professor from Atlanta wrote, "I've been treated poorly in high-end stores my entire life. Reading about your experience and seeing your response gives me hope that things can actually change." A young lawyer from Chicago shared, "I watched the video with my daughter. She asked why the lady was mean to you. I told her that sometimes people make mistakes, but the important thing is how we choose to fix them." The financial impact exceeded projections. Meridian's stock price recovered within 2 weeks and reached an all-time high by the end of the quarter. Analysts attributed the growth to improved brand reputation and expanded customer base. Harvard Business School requested permission to use the incident as a case study in their MBA program. The case, titled "Crisis as Catalyst: Transforming Discrimination into Organizational Change," became required reading in their leadership curriculum. Elias's daughter Ava graduated from Stanford Law School with honors. She wore the Cartier bracelet to her graduation ceremony, but the real gift was seeing how her father had transformed a moment of discrimination into systemic change. At the graduation reception, Ava addressed the family gathering. Dad could have used his power to destroy the people who humiliated him. Instead, he used it to build something better. That's the kind of leader I want to be. The jewelry industry took notice. 3 major competitors implemented similar biased training programs. The National Retail Federation invited Elias to speak at their annual conference about inclusive customer service. His speech, titled "The True Cost of Discrimination," was viewed over 200,000 times on YouTube. The key message was simple. Treating people with dignity isn't just morally right, it's economically smart. Independent audits confirmed the training's effectiveness. Mystery shoppers from diverse backgrounds tested all Meridian locations quarterly. Service quality scores showed no significant variance across racial or ethnic lines. The anonymous feedback system had received over 300 reports in its first 6 months. Most were positive observations about improved service. The few negative reports were addressed within 48 hours, with additional coaching provided to staff members. Rebecca Sloan eventually reached out through an intermediary requesting a meeting with Elias. She wanted to apologize personally and ask for his forgiveness. Elias agreed to meet her at a neutral location, a coffee shop in Santa Monica. "I've spent every day since that incident thinking about what I did," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I destroyed my career, embarrassed my family, and hurt an innocent person. I don't expect forgiveness, but I needed you to know that I understand how wrong I was." Elias listened without interruption. Then he said, "Rebecca, recognizing the harm is the first step toward growth. I hope you'll use this experience to become a better person." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "I'm volunteering with a civil rights organization now, teaching customer service workshops for small businesses, trying to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else." "That's meaningful work," Elias replied. "I wish you well." They parted cordially. Elias never spoke publicly about the meeting, believing that redemption was a private journey. The incident's long-term impact extended beyond Meridian jewelry. Other luxury retailers quietly reviewed their own policies and practices. Several implemented similar training programs without fanfare, recognizing that change was necessary whether or not they'd experienced public incidents. The Beverly Hills location now displayed a small plaque near the entrance. "We serve all customers with dignity and respect." It wasn't about the incident. It was a commitment to the future. 1 year later, Elias Vance stood before 400 retail executives at the National Commerce Convention. The keynote speech was titled, "Dignity as Strategy Building Inclusive Luxury Brands." "The most expensive lesson my company ever learned cost exactly $0, he began. "It was the moment we discovered that our success depended not on who we excluded, but on who we welcomed." The audience, predominantly white, predominantly male, listened intently as Elias shared data from Meridian's transformation. Revenue growth, 28% year over year. Customer satisfaction, 94% up from 67%. Employee retention, 89%, the highest in company history. "These aren't just numbers," Elias continued. "They represent real people who now feel valued and respected. They represent employees who take pride in their workplace culture. They represent communities that trust us with their most precious moments." The Meridian case study had become required reading at business schools across the country. Students analyzed how a moment of crisis became a catalyst for organizational excellence. Dr. Diana Williams, a business ethics professor at Columbia, assigned the case to her MBA students. "This demonstrates how companies can transform discrimination from a liability into a competitive advantage," she explained. "The key is authenticity. You can't fake genuine cultural change." Elias's approach had influenced an entire industry. The Luxury Retail Association now required bias training for all member companies. The certification process included mystery shopper programs and customer feedback analysis. These life stories matter because they show us that transformation is possible. Every touching story of discrimination overcome becomes a blueprint for others. When we share these real-life stories, we remind ourselves that Black stories aren't just about struggle. They're about the power to create lasting change. The original TikTok video posted by Sophia Reyes had been viewed 12.7 million times. Sophia parlayed the viral moment into a career as a social justice advocate speaking at universities about the power of bystander documentation. "I learned that day that our phones aren't just for entertainment," she told audiences. "They're tools for accountability. When we witness injustice, we have a responsibility to document it and share it." Elias's daughter Ava, now a civil rights attorney, kept the Cartier bracelet in her jewelry box, but rarely wore it. "It's beautiful," she told her father. "But what you built from that moment is so much more valuable than diamonds." The transformation extended beyond business metrics. Elias received a letter from a young Black entrepreneur in Detroit. "I saw your video when I was afraid to enter high-end stores. Now I own 3 luxury boutiques and treat every customer like family. Thank you for showing me what's possible." Chloe, now a regional manager, overseeing 5 Meridian locations, often spoke to new employees about the Beverly Hills incident. "Mr. Vance could have destroyed everyone involved," she told them. "Instead, he chose to build something better. That's the standard we hold ourselves to every day." The security guard who witnessed the original incident, Henry Bishop, was promoted to head of corporate security. His job now included monitoring customer service interactions and ensuring the Dignity First principles were maintained across all locations. "I've worked retail security for 30 years, he said. "I've seen a lot of ugly situations. But I've never seen someone turn discrimination into education the way Mr. Vance did. That's real leadership." The Beverly Hills store, once the site of humiliation, became a symbol of transformation. Customers often visited specifically because of the story wanting to experience the culture that emerged from crisis. Elias still shopped there occasionally, always dressed casually, always treated with the respect every customer deserved. The irony wasn't lost on him. He'd created the very experience he'd been denied. Have you experienced discrimination in retail or service environments? Share your story in the comments below. Your voice matters and can help others feel less alone. If this video opened your eyes to the power of choosing growth over revenge, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs to see that change is possible. Together, we're not just sharing Black stories. We're writing the next chapter of what business can become when it's built on dignity, respect, and the understanding that every customer's story matters. Real change starts with real conversations, and your story might be exactly what someone needs to hear today.